Hello ladies and gentlemen, Keaton here, and welcome to the Tengu Drop Recap for the week of May 31st, 2015. And yes, for those of you keeping track, technically the drop pod should have aired this week, and there should have been a recap last week, but I forgot that May has 31 days in the month, so yeah, I messed that up. Anyway, I'm running down everything that we released on the channel this week, so let us begin with Monday. On Monday, Joe continued his adventures through Lemma. Now, funny story, something I've realized trying to watch Joe's Lemma videos is I don't do too well with first-person parkour games. I can play them fine, you know, but Mirror's Edge, enjoy that game, love that game actually. Really hoping for Mirror's Edge 2 soon. But yeah, watching it, very difficult. I don't know what it is. I don't usually get motion sickness, but I don't know, something's weird with first-person parkour games. But if you're not like me and you're not a wuss who can't handle fast-paced first-person parkour puzzle madness, motion, crazy, zany awesomeness, and you haven't checked out any of the Lemma content, highly recommend you do. On Tuesday, I did Beyond Gravity, a game about pressing one button and planet hopping and grabbing scrap in space. It's a very odd concept, but yeah, Beyond Gravity probably could have been a better game, but it takes way too long for me to upgrade anything, so by like 10 minutes in, I'm only pressing one button, so that's about as long as I lasted with that, so yeah. Wasn't necessarily the most flashy of games, but it had a promising concept, and you know, I try to have fun with it, so there's that at least. On Wednesday, Joe continued his Lemma adventures, and actually he finished the game. I think he got one of many endings. I'm not too sure which ending it was. I think it's like ending D? I don't know, don't quote me on that. But nonetheless, you know, if you've been following the Lemma adventures, the end is here, or at least one ending. I don't know if he's gonna do the others. I'm assuming he will. I mean, you know, Joe, when he covers a game to this extent, he usually goes above and beyond, so I don't know. Maybe you can send him some encouragement and be like, hey Joe, I want to see the other endings, please do them in the comments, and maybe he'll do it. I don't know. Don't quote me on whether or not he will do it. Moving on, before I get into trouble. On Wednesday, we also did more God mode. Did the Basilisk Pit, I think, is the name of the level. Pretty crazy stuff. More horde mode action, more getting overwhelmed by an enormous amount of things. And yeah, I promise you, we are not done with the Basilisk Pit. Moving on to Thursday. On Thursday, it was Nuclear Throne Roulette time, and as you would expect, I had a lot to deal with regarding the RNG, or its lack of randomness. Yeah, best way to put that, I guess. Yeah. Based on the positive response the series has been getting, I'm glad to see that my pain is not going in vain, so I'm glad you guys are being entertained by it. And if you haven't been checking out the Nuclear Throne Roulette series, I highly recommend you guys do, especially if you're looking for a twist on the Nuclear Throne playthrough concept, because I definitely do things a lot differently than a lot of other players, and that's mostly because I'm bad at the game, so have to compensate in some other fashion. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. On Thursday, I also looked at a game called Armed with Wings Rearmed. This is a game that just came out on Steam Early Access. It's a 2D side-scrolling action part puzzle game that involves an eagle, and you know, it's got some issues that I bring up in the video. The funny story, actually, if there is some divine presence out there, I felt like it was trying its best to prevent me from covering this game, because first off, in the first like 5 minutes of trying to record, my audio recording program crashed, so I had to restart. And then after spending about 30 minutes or so recording my first impressions, trying to watch it back, I noticed that the footage was corrupted, so I had to go back and immediately start re-recording because I didn't have time to do it any other time. So unfortunately, my commentary was sort of lackluster in my opinion, but yeah, I still think that the game has promise, and if it can work on sort of the shortcomings that it's currently dealing with, I think it could be a really top game. So it's good that it's in early access, I guess. moving on Friday we did more 7 Days to Die, hopped on some random server, had some fun trying to not die. The good news is that the game runs a lot better than it did when was Alpha 11 first came out, so that's good. It's nice that, you know, the performance was addressed so that we can actually play the game and try to have some actual fun with it. So you get to see us survive or not survive so well without, you know, the game chugging, which is great. Wonderful. No excuses. On Saturday, we took a look at a game called Primal Carnage, and this is a crazy game. It's a couple of years old at this point. I think it even has a sequel at this point, but yeah, took a look at Primal Carnage. It's humans versus dinosaurs, and like we only got to play deathmatch because that's the only thing that the server was playing. So originally I was cutting it to be one whole video of our entire session, but it actually works a lot better this way because in this part that we released this week, it's our first impressions, us learning the game, trying to understand what the hell we're doing, and trying to learn how to play as the dinosaurs. And not to take away from any of that, but it was a great build up to when we eventually get into the next part, because in the next part things just go crazy. So once again, I highly recommend you guys check this part out and just see us trying to absorb what Primal Carnage is all about, because things get bonkers in the next episode to a crazy degree. Like, I don't want to overhype it. I'm already probably overhyping it, but yeah, Primal Carnage is crazy, dude. But I'm getting ahead of myself. That was the week in Tengu Drop videos. What can you expect next week? Maybe the next part of Primal Carnage, maybe the follow-up to 7 Days to Die. There's another Warframe video coming up, and like I said, we're not done with God Mode's Basilisk Pit, so there's that to look forward to. I can't promise that those are all going to come out next week. Probably not. We're probably going to try and look at something else, you know, so that we're not just continuously spitting out serial videos, you know, we mix it up a bit. But those are things you can expect to see on the channel eventually. As a reminder, like I said at the start of the show, last week we released episode 5 of the Drop Pod. We talked about publishers including Konami, Warner Brothers, so forth. And then we transitioned nicely into E3 predictions, you know, what we want to see from E3, what we hope to see more of, you know, introduced, all of that good stuff. So if you haven't listened to it yet, I highly recommend you guys check that out as well. And as always, everything that we released for the week is in the description for your convenience. And of course, thank you to everyone who is caught up and has been watching, has been liking, sharing, commenting, all of that wonderful supportive goodness that we always appreciate. Thank you. And hello to all the new subscribers. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. And until next week, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys then for another Tengu Drop Recap. Bye!